Hey there, Sharam Namdarian here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the idea of caring less what other people think, but we're going to be talking about it through, as always, the lens of intense emotional healing. First of all, I am trying a different audio setting, so I realized my last few videos were a bit quieter than they should have been, and I know I could have digitally boosted them and stuff like that, but I like to try and get things right, and I always have this idea of like just get the content out there and iterative design, like make every iteration better, not try and get this thing perfect. So hopefully it's not too loud, and if it is too loud, we'll adjust it for next time. So welcome to this video. My name is Sharam Namdarian, and yeah, so we're talking about the idea of caring less about what other people think. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I've done a lot of inner work around the idea of producing these videos. But it was interesting because I noticed I was suddenly seizing up around Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can. It's instagram.com/ my username is awesomesharam. There should be a link in the description depending on where it is, or a little thing here. But long story short, around 4 or 5 months ago, I stopped producing videos. Now the reason why I stopped doing that is, there's been a whole video on this, but one of the reasons was I really needed to work on myself. But the second reason was, there actually was inside me a lot of fear around a lot of judgments that other people might have. For example, hi, my name is Sharam and I do videos on healing sometimes. I thought that wasn't fun, wasn't cool, wasn't exciting. Only then to later on accept through my own healing journey, through my own surrender journey, that, hey, my name is Sharam and sometimes I'm not cool. Sometimes I'm not funny. Sometimes I'm downright the most annoying person in the fucking room. And upon realizing that, upon that deep, deep acceptance of who and what I am, suddenly not only did I change, as in I became more accepting of who and what I am, but other people did as well. It's really an interesting phenomenon that goes out there. And it's quite hard for some people because for some people they've almost made a life around being a certain way, not necessarily being themselves. That's one of my biggest issues, for example, when it comes to different dating coaches and the dating industry and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of like, do this. And then there's other people who say, be yourself. Being yourself is one of the most fucking hardest things you can do. Because no one knows what they are, or they don't trust who they are. So this journey of self-acceptance, this journey of self-discovery is, to me, one of the most important self-discoveries and the journeys that you can go on. Because once you start to go down this journey, you start to accept things about yourself. And your reality essentially starts to reorientate itself. So whether life becomes easier, or more importantly, you start to connect with other people or new people, and the old people who never really accepted you, who you are, start to disappear. So let's look at this through my own journey, because I think this is really interesting as a teachable moment. When it came to videos and doing these videos, I stopped because I was like, people are going to judge me. And then I realized people are going to fucking judge me. Also, I'm someone who's worth being judged. Judge good, judge bad, I'm going to be judged. And upon realizing that, I immediately let it go. I let it go about what I can be judged and what I can't be judged for. So that almost allowed me to care less what other people were interested in, or care less about other people's perspectives on me. As I do these videos, to be honest, some stuff comes up, some emotional stuff. Oh, I'm waffling away. Oh, it's too boring. And then it's funny because then I read the comments and you guys comment something I said later on in the video. And I'm like, you watched the whole thing. Oh, that's exciting. So we have these feared made manifest that essentially clogs the pipe of our existence. And so the fear of being judged, look, it's real. It's fucking real. But also, and here's my big thing, the belief that you must be judged less is also a blockage. The belief that you should give no shits about what other people think also is a blockage. Because you can run around going, oh my God, I cared about what they thought. I should have cared less. I should have cared less. This is like the whip, like the, I should have cared less. It's funny because it's like, I once did like an interview on a podcast, and the man, like, it was about like how do I care less what other people think? And it's funny because if I was to do that podcast now, I'd be like, why is that so fucking important? And for some people it is. I'm not saying don't try and not care what other people think, What I'm saying is the pursuit itself, the desire itself also is a blockage. I'm just going to reduce the much better. So the desire itself also presents itself as a blockage. Sometimes we can want things so much that we hold on to it that we actually stop ourselves from moving forward. It's getting very bright. Sorry, guys. Or sorry, you specifically. So it's this interesting thing. So upon for me trying to produce these videos, I then had to clear out my karmic debt, if you would, when it came to my perspective on videos, how I perceived videos. Like, oh, I'm putting it out there, it's cringy, I'm not going to get the quality right, it's going to be too shit, oh, I'm putting too much effort in. All of this stuff had to, at one point, the fears, the feelings, these thoughts had to be surrendered to so I could clear them out. Again, everything is a pipe. You and I present ourselves as a pipe. Me creating these videos presents themselves as a pipe. And all the little thoughts and beliefs we have stops the energy. There's a video I want to do in the future, which is basically the idea that some anxiety is actually excitement. That emotions actually have like two states. They have a stuck state and they have a flowing state. And we often can get those things confused. And once we allow themselves to flow, they actually transform. So that's like a whole nother video in the future. If you want that, say it and say the contents that you want. Because some people are like, I want this video that you said in the thing. I'm like, I can't fucking remember. Like, I'm living my life. I don't fucking know. Anyway, so what's interesting then, if you then were to take this journey that I went on to the next level, is... well, Sharam's then trying to produce Instagram posts. I'm like, no one loves you till you love yourself. Wah, wah, wah. But what's interesting was I had spent all this time clearing out my blockages towards creating YouTube videos, that when it came to Instagram, I actually had similar but different blocks. So here's the thing about, interesting thing about emotional healing is, once you sort of heal one aspect of yourself, you've sort of taught your body how to heal that part in other parts of your life. For example, healing an anxiety that you might have towards talking to one person actually heals your anxiety towards talking to all people. Like it's that, unless it might present itself in different ways, but the emotion is the same. So we heal that part and we heal all those aspects. It's super interesting and it's fucking groundbreaking. You know, you don't need any big old techniques. You just got to surrender. Surrender to the feeling, eventually it passes. Surrender to the feeling, eventually it passes. And surrender to the blocks, to the things you want to create, eventually those blocks pass, and there is just you and flowing action. Flowing action. My life is a fucking testament to this, and the rest of my life will be a case example of this. So what came to Instagram was actually like, okay, cool, I've actually got some blocks towards Instagram, because like the videos that I put online, for example, on YouTube, I don't necessarily have a lot of friends and family watching them. Like, I mean, I make jokes, my mum watches them, but not really. She's always like, "Ooh, Sharam made a new video. I better press like. You got to help him with that algorithm." But I have a lot of friends and family watching, got me on Instagram. And it's to the point that I almost perceive it like, oh, it's so cringy what I'm doing. It's nice in private, but it's great. It's now it's public. I'm sharing it with friends and family again. Oh, they're not going to like it. Therefore, I don't like it. And how often do we as humans do that? We do something in private because we are afraid of doing it publicly. And there is nothing wrong with that. But upon then surrender. So what do? We surrender. We surrender to the blocks. We let them pass. I eventually, and I'm still actually in the process, but a lot of my blockages I realized were actually similar to YouTube. Similar to these feelings of, oh, they're going to judge me. They're not going to understand me. I'm putting these ideas out. I'm crazy. It's weird. I'm branding it too much. Oh, I'm putting too much effort in. It's too hard. But that's what happens, right? So I'm creating these things. I don't fully understand what I'm trying to do. I don't even know how to describe what I do. It's great. I don't know how to describe it, but I'll figure it out. What ends up happening is that we remove the blockages and they become easy. They become effortless. It becomes something you are already doing. That's the beauty of the healing journey. Once you've healed something you've really wanted to do for a very long time, you'll either start, you'll have some epiphany, or you'll realize that you've already been doing it. And I love the realization we've already been doing it, because once we have that realization, it's actually easier, because it's like you realize you've been doing it for your whole fucking life. So it's easier doing it now rather than before. It might be really hard. So this whole video is about the concept of how to care less about what other people think. And truth be told, it's like there's many takeaways here. Like, even if you hear my own healing journey, that might be healing in itself. But the idea that we have to care less about what other people think, like, oh, we care too much, that's a problem. Again, rants about the men's dating industry. They're like, don't put the woman on the pedestal. I fucking put my girlfriend on the pedestal all the fucking time. She loves it. The idea is that you also put yourself on the pedestal as well. That's fine. There's journeys towards that. But why are we doing these things? That's important to look at. Why are we doing these things? What are we actually afraid of? What are we trying to be? And more importantly, what are we trying not to be? What are we trying not to be seen as? This fear of being judged by other people is a complex and diverse portfolio of fears, because it's not just the fear of judgment. It's the fear of being seen like X, or seen like Y, or being seen doing X, being seen doing Y, because of the self-scolding and punishment we might punish ourselves through. But once you heal these things, heal the reactions to the emotions themselves don't hold any punch, and you are able to exist synchronistically and simultaneously with it. I think Eckhart Tolle and fucking all of these other people are talking about Jesus then said, be in the world but not of it. It's like that. Be in the world but not of the emotions. To exist with them but not to be fully consumed by them. So what ends up happening? You produce content online and you realize, like I have realized, that there are going to be times where you are shit. And there are going to be times where you are great. You are going to produce good content and you are going to produce bad content with the fear of not being liked. There are times where you are going to be liked, and there are going to be times where you're going to do something you're going to fuck up. But it's this acceptance that these are actually attributes of who you are allows you as a person to take that next step, to accept it and move on. Because life then has a karmic cycle. It will bring you back to the same bullshit over and over and over again until you fucking feel the thing that you were meant to feel. And that's why we surrender. It's a systematic approach. But even if you don't, life will consistently bring this shit around for you to then realize, hey, like say for example, you're single and ready to mingle. And you're like afraid that you're like, oh, the first thing I say is going to be shit. Then you surrender, or life forces you to surrender, or something happens. And you realize you're gonna be shit. That's just who you are. You're gonna be shit. You're gonna take shit actions. You're gonna say shit things. Now, hopefully, you try and live by the mantra that I've tried to, and sometimes you just fuck up. That you try and leave people better off than how you found them. Look, sometimes life sucks. That's how it happens. But upon this deep acceptance of oneself, do we not get stuck in that emotion? Do we not grieve our action? I'm trying to speak loud because I have my laundry going. Do we not grieve the action? And here's the thing. I get blocked by doing laundry. It takes me so fucking long. Me and my girlfriend talk about it, and I'm like, it's been like a few days. I should do my laundry, or it's been like an hour. Like, I am accusing myself of being bad domestic Sharam by not doing my laundry. But that is a fragment of the mind. Once we've accepted these things, like I just accepted about my laundry, that I'm bad at laundry, do we allow ourselves to become better? Because we have in some ways accepted ourselves, that you are going to be shit, that you're going to say the wrong thing. We can set the desire. We can set the desire that we want to say the right thing. We can do that. That's part of our life. We can do that. But accepting the dark side accepts the light. Accepting that attribute of like, oh, but they're going to judge me for being shit, or I'm too smelly, or I don't know, like, I'm too bold, or I'm this, or I'm that. Once we have accepted it at a deep level, not I'll accept it, I'll work on accepting it, but accept it at the deepest level, at the level that it existed at within us. That is the pain, the fear, the anxiety, the stuff that we had to truly surrender to and to let go of. Once we have accepted it at that level, do we let ourselves move on? Do we let ourselves move on to that next stage where the emotion then becomes a flowing state. That's like anxiety. Surrender to the anxiety. The best way to get over anxiety is through it. You can't go under it. You can't go under it. You can't go over it. You have to go through it. But then you will realize a thing. You'll have an epiphany. Once the emotion has completed its cycle, once it's completed its cycle, you'll have some form of epiphany. The epiphany might be, I'm an anxious person. Then you let that pass and you realize I'm an anxious person. Cool. I'll just be an anxious person. Or you'll realize you're anxious about something someone said to you 10 years ago and that it doesn't matter now anymore because you've completely moved on. The emotions have cycles, they complete themselves. How to give less shits about what other people think about you. Look at what's actually going on, process it, let yourself get beyond it, and in some ways accept it. That's the fucking takeaway from this video. I'm here talking about Instagram because I'm like, I make cringy content. Wah, 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 wah. Then I accept it, I surrender, and I accept it, and at the end I'm like, I make cringy content. So what? I'm gonna do it from time to time. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Sometimes the only place to do it is to do it. You have all these people, like for example, social media. When's the best time to post? Me. I'm gonna suck. I'm gonna suck, and I might as well just try it. And then eventually I realize, around 2 a.m. for my time, pretty good time. It's pretty funny. Am I awake during that time? Sometimes. So sometimes I'm rolling around in bed. Oh, I can't sleep. I'll just post to Instagram. Have you ever thought about loving yourself? Like, something cringy. That's the thing. I used to judge myself so fucking harshly for the judgments that other people gave me. Only once you process that, people might still judge you. But you can either have ducks off a water's back, or because you've processed it, you help them process it. Because you've processed it, you've helped them process it. So it's an aspect of they might judge you and you're like, look, I know it's shit. So what? And they're like, oh, so what? In fact, that's the job of a coach. That's the job of a fucking life coach, dating coach, whatever, surrender coach. Like a person, like interpersonal, not like a basketball coach. Basketball coach, maybe basketball coach. I don't really know many, but if you're a basketball coach, fucking hit me up. I'll ask you some questions. But point is, we judge ourselves way too harshly. We judge ourselves for judging ourselves. There's a rule here. I've said this before in other videos, and this is going to be my last point before I wrap this video up. It's not the thing, it's the thing about the thing. So it's like replace the word thing with whatever emotion you think. It's not the sadness, it's the sadness about the sadness. I'm sad about being sad. It's not the anxiety, it's the anxiety about being anxious. Oh my God, I'm so anxious that I'm anxious. I shouldn't be anxious. Why am I anxious? I'm mad, I'm mad about being mad. Or it's not the madness, it's the madness about being mad. Like, I'm angry that you made me angry. It's like, as humans, we're not dealing with the actual emotion. We're dealing with the emotion about the emotion. So it's like the fear of not being liked, or the fear of like the desire to not give a fuck. It's like, it's not the desire to not give a fuck, or the fear of having someone, or the fear of caring about. It's the fear of the fear. Like, I'm afraid of caring, or I'm afraid of being afraid, because if I am afraid, then that means something. But you look at it, you surrender to the feeling, you let it go, you sort of realize, hey, wait a second, it's not a big deal. And when you realize it's not a big deal, other people realize it's not a big deal. Thank you so much for watching this video! If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like, because if you did, I don't know, something, I like you. That's what I used to say in those videos. If you did, then I like you. I like you regardless. Or maybe not. Some of you guys are assholes. I don't know. I don't know. It's a joke. But make sure to leave a comment or something. Let me know what your thoughts of this video are. I really appreciate it, as always. If you watch this far, I appreciate it. I used to think that no one does. Now I realize people do. And to be honest, I'm okay. I hope you are too. All right, ciao.